Yo, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be taking a break from the straight up gameplay content, and I'm going to do my best to give you a tutorial on the movement mechanics in Titanfall 2. Now, let me preface this by saying I know I am not the best at this, I am not the fastest, and there are definitely faster pilots out there, but I believe I have a good understanding of all the mechanics, so I thought I'd try to share some of that knowledge. With that said, sit back, relax, and let's do this.
Don't get me wrong, she's never perfect, but I'll see it through. Discovered purpose on the surface, man, I'll deem it true. I'm nervous, I'm purchased knowledge to worship and work in promise. No person or current solace will hinder stride, I'll see no doom. I'm not your average rapper, cause my...
Alright, so before we get started, I'll be using an Xbox Elite controller throughout this video. So if you're on PlayStation, you won't have an issue translating my movements to your DualShocks, but I don't want PC players to be confused. It's simple though. If I ever refer to my left stick, I'm specifically talking about movement. So if I say something like hold left on the left analog, you can translate that to A on your keyboard or D for right. Right analog would just be your mouse movements. I should mention though that since I have an Elite controller, I have two paddles on the back that make things a lot easier. I highly recommend this for advanced movement if you're on console, but if you can't afford one right now or that's just not your thing, please don't think these mechanics are impossible to perform. A lot of people have suggested to use the Evolve control scheme to better allow you to jump and slide with ease without having to move your fingers too much. So where do we actually get started? Let me first explain why it's useful to learn all this to begin with. Besides making the game 100 times more fun and looking super flashy, moving fast in Titanfall allows you to outplay your opponents. Because you can get from point A to B that much faster, you might be waiting at a vantage point or flank way before the enemy ever expects you. Or in CTF, it allows you to cap flags at ridiculous speeds, rendering the defense pretty much useless. Unless I'm on defense, because, you know, I'm incredible. But why? Why do we perform certain actions to achieve this speed? Because it's literally in the game's code. To show you this, let's check out the Gauntlet speedrun exercise. I learned a lot about movement in this game using the Gauntlet because the game literally shows you the speed you're moving at, so you can practice different things and see what works or doesn't. To start, at a casual walking speed, we move at about 14 kilometers per hour, or kph. When sprinting, that increases to 22 kph. And now the magic begins. If you run on a wall for about 1 second, your speed increases to about 30 kph. Now, hop off that wall. Now you're moving at 42 kilometers per hour. Hop off that wall perfectly and you'll reach or surpass stim speed. But we'll tackle that a bit later. So, because you jumped on and off a wall, you pretty much just double your sprint speed. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a time and place for moving slow and methodically, but why sprint everywhere most of the time when you can use this knowledge to your advantage and compete with the best? The beauty in all this is that you can chain movements to keep your momentum. And that's where the slide hop is introduced. Oh, the slide hop, War Spirit's favorite mechanic. If you ever played Call of Duty Black Ops 3, the slide hop is very similar to the pre-patch G-slide. Basically, as soon as your character starts a slide animation, you gain a boost of speed. Pretty much the same boost you get from hopping off a wall. However, if you slide for too long, you end up gradually losing that speed. So the trick is to only slide for a split second. Here are the basics of the slide hop. You sprint or gain speed from a wall, jump, then slide while still in the air. You'll know you did it right because your gun will dip like this. Now, as soon as you hit the ground, you jump again. That's it. I get it though. The explanation sounds simple, but a lot of people still can't get it down. And that's fine. If that sounds like you, all I can say is practice. Just go into the Gauntlet or a private match and just practice this sequence. It just takes repetition, and eventually it'll build into your muscle memory. I promise. Get into the habit of doing this all the time in game just to move around the map. Like I said, it's faster than sprinting, so you'll be doing yourself a favor. Now, once you're used to doing this and it feels natural to you, you can start practicing the more advanced stuff. The beloved air strafe. Air strafing combined with near-perfect wall hops is where the real speed begins. Mastering this is what separates a good player to an amazing player like Frothy Omen or Game Sager, regardless if they pay me for the plug or not. But to begin, most importantly, stop holding forward while slide hopping. This is usually a habit that's tough to break for most players because it's basically embedded in our brain to hold forward while flying forward, but it's not necessary in Titanfall, and it actually hinders our ability to move faster. If you've been paying attention to my control display while slide hopping, I'm always holding either left or right on my left analog stick. Even if I don't necessarily want to turn left or right, I'm still holding them instead of forward. Titanfall runs on the Source engine, where strafing and slowly aiming towards the same direction actually speeds you up. With this method, you can turn corners with ease and gain velocity while doing so. It's going to take some practice though, because if you aim too fast with your right stick, you'll spin out and look ridiculous. Too slow and you'll just hit a wall instead of curving the corner. So, to reiterate, gain momentum by sprinting or wall hopping, then start slide hopping. hold either left or right and gradually aim in the same direction. Profit. Hopefully. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to go over is wall hopping, or proper wall hopping, which is almost impossible. As you know, running on a wall for a second and jumping off will net you around 41 or 42 kph. If you jump off another wall soon after, you'll either retain that same velocity or gain so much more. This is something that I know about, but I'm far from mastering. Basically, there's a very short window that if you jump as soon as you hit another wall, you'll fly off of it. I practice this all the time, and I still don't really know the timing specifics. If you jump too soon, you'll double jump towards the wall, and you have a chance of losing speed. Jump too late, and it'll be a regular wall hop. This is how people are reaching 50 plus kph in the Gauntlet, and sometimes I get lucky with it. I finally beat Game Stage's time the other day, but it's still really inconsistent for me. I noticed holding forward while wall hopping usually helps, but it's really all about timing. It just needs to be perfect. But that's pretty much it. If I think of anything else that can help, I'll be sure to add it in the description or annotations. I sincerely hope this helped a few of you that want to be faster. I still have much to learn myself, so you can bet I'll be practicing as often as possible. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to rate the video if you liked or disliked it, and I'll see you on the frontier. Peace.